Our second reading comes from the New Testament, Matthew 4, 1 through 11. And I invite you, if you so desire, to just listen. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterward he was famished. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. For it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." Jesus said to him, "Again, it is written, do not put the Lord your God to test." Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all of the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. And he said to him, "All these I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only him." Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. The title of this sermon is called "Preparing the Way." Jesus, in his temptation by the devil, is preparing our way today. I thought it was so spectacular that the devil was able to present himself to Jesus and taunt him. Now, if Jesus was accosted by the devil, what is the probability of that same devil attacking any one of us? Some of you even know which devil has accosted your lives. If you don't, take 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, now let's look at what were the challenges that the devil presented to Jesus and see if you can relate to any of those sins. Number one, lust of the flesh. I think Bob talked about that at 23, the 23-year-old girls kind of presented themselves to the 23-year-old boys. Number two, lust of the eyes. And number three, pride of life, which suggests that the temptation then and now are universal, which the humankind as a whole can face during one's own lifespan. Now, this situation with Jesus and the devil was the work of the Spirit. God allowed the devil to tempt Jesus so that Jesus could overcome the temptation. Jesus' 40 days also corresponded to Israel's 40 years of experience in the wilderness. And you remember that Israel complained about having manna all the time to keep them alive out of the wilderness, as Israel was so dissatisfied with what God had provided. How many of us have been dissatisfied with what God has provided? Or frustrated? So-and-so has more. I don't have enough. Or it is really hard to make some ends meet when you got 4 kids and you're in seminary and your car doesn't half work and and you're whining to God. That was my whine. Let me ask you, how many of us have been dissatisfied with what God has provided in our lives? And furthermore, Israel had also requested that God prove that God is God through the spectacular miracles. And thus, self-satisfaction with being great like God. And dissatisfaction, God's provisions. What God provides is not enough for so many of us until we embark on unscrupulous manipulation to achieve God-like attainments and accomplishments. Let me say that again. What God provides is not enough for so many of us until we embark on unscrupulous manipulation to achieve God-like attainments and accomplishments, so we can pump ourselves up and feel great about ourselves because we did it all by ourselves. But the devil could not put God the Father to the test. Now, us Presbyterians, we don't like to talk too much about sin. You know, it's uncomfortable. And during this first Lenten Sunday, some of you were not here for Ash Wednesday, and one of the requirements for Ash Wednesday was to write your name on a piece of paper, not your name, your sin, and bring it in here, and we had a bowl here, and we burnt our sins, a symbolic burning. But the reality is we carry those sins with us. And just like Bob said, you know, I thought God was something that was up in the sky. You know, when you're young and your body is working, everybody knows that God is just up in the sky because I'm too busy living. But when you went to war, when you go to war, when you see the devil for yourself, you know at that juncture, you got some choices to make. And those choices, depending on what's going on in your life, you'll decide, okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. I might take that money. Or I might take or go over here and be with that person. Or I might do worse. Now, one of the things that I deal with just about every day, and I think I've told y'all about the prayer. Somebody said that hospitals are the biggest churches. Because I meet a lot of people that are in anguish and so forth. And one guy said to me, listen, I don't believe in this stuff sometimes, but just in case, because I feel like I might die, come on over here, chaplain, and pray with me. So we had a just in case prayer. And just in case, for that week, he was able to go home. I don't know what happened to him after that, but he was able to go home that week. So when I saw him and they come and they push you out because, insurance and so forth, they don't want you walking. So they push him out and I said, hey, I'll call him James. James, how are you? Hey, that just in case prayer, it got me out this hospital. Preparing the way, though. You see, you don't know when the seed is planted, even if you're 85 and you haven't been hearing God a lot. And preparing the way means just in case for some people. Well, I remember when we did grief counseling, grief counseling. Some people have gone through that. We talk about grief, and we talk about shock and denial, and we talk about pain and guilt and anger and bargaining. Well, one of the things that you didn't hear on that mountain was you heard the devil bargaining with Jesus, not Jesus bargaining with the devil. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that I have bargained in my life with God. I have asked God to keep my mother alive until I became an adult so she can see me get married and have children and so forth. And then I said, and then I'll be yours. But I didn't quite expect God to take me up on it. I just thought it was something that you say. Of course, I was 16. And as I was driving to the hospital, I'm praying, God, I'm yours. If you just let Mama live to see me grow. Well, he did. And then when I had 4 children and all kinds of responsibilities, he said, okay, now you're going to seminary. And I said, no, I'm not. Then, yes, you are. I don't have the money. God said, so what? And I went. I figured it was about time I'd be obedient about something. You see, a lot of times, we don't become obedient until we have gone through something in our lives. Anybody? Or I'm just the hard-headed one. Sometimes you gotta go through something so God can prepare the way for you personally. The way he prepared the way for Bob, Sir Bob, is different from Dr. Ekbo. The way he will prepare the way for you is going to be different than for me. We talked about the complexity of Christianity in Bible study today. The complexity, the dogma, the polity, and the politics involved with being Presbyterian, or Baptist, or Lutheran, or Catholic, or Buddhist, or Muslim, or Jewish. You see, all of those have rules to them. And depending on how you were raised, where you came from, those rules can be comfortable or uncomfortable. But preparing the way today is that God is in charge. Those rules, if you really read them, are man-made and woman-made. We take responsibility too. And it keeps people in place. But the love of God, the way that situation in your life has brought you to God is how God prepares the way for each one of us. And yes, it may be different. You see, do not put the Lord your God to test. Now, you know at 16 I sure did. If you do, I will. But see, God wins every time. Every time. And then you remember this. Again, the devil took him to a high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world, their splendor. And he said, all these I will give you if you fall down and worship me. I don't know many people here like money. Anybody? Anybody like money? If somebody today said, okay, you go to the bank today and you have $5 million in your bank account, each and every one of you, how many people would be happy? Anybody?
I would.
Yeah. Thank you, Tara. Tara. She's the only one that would be happy with $5 million? Okay, thank you. Okay. I know what I would do with $5 million. You all, of course, maybe this is what we're supposed to be doing, but the fundraiser would not be such a big deal. Because I would have $5 million, and we could put together a thing so we would never need money again, Bob. Okay? But the reality is, Jesus was taken up the entire mountaintop and showed how wonderful life could be. And isn't it easy to look over there and say, look, so-and-so has got that big house, and so-and-so has that car, and so-and-so has this and that. Oh, I would love to have that. Right? Well, the devil knew that power and money were one of the things that was our biggest fall. It's not that money itself being a sin. It's how we use it. It's what do we do with that? Preparing the way means preparing the soul and preparing your faith with this long haul called life. Now, some of us don't have such a long haul. Some of us maybe have a week or two. And others, it's cut off really short. But ladies and gentlemen, the word of the Lord, the power of God, is in this Lenten season today. It is with each and every one of us. It's with that stuff that scares the heck out of us when we're sitting in a hole somewhere. It is raising 4 kids and maybe not knowing where the money is going to come from. It's sitting in front of an administrator and saying, okay, now, Cheryl, how are you going to pay for this? I didn't know how it was going to come, but it came. It doesn't mean that we're frivolous. It doesn't mean that we are to just sort of, oh, God will take care of it. No, it's preparing the way in our souls. And when we hear this, worship the Lord your God and serve only him. We as weak individuals have to remember that. Because most of y'all are old enough to know when we start serving some of those things that are unhealthy, what happens? Yeah. And so, in our old age, in the ripeness of the wine, in the positiveness of who we are as Christians, learning to just simply understand how God works in our lives. is what we are to do consciously for the next 30-some days. You see? Yes, it's going to be complex if we look at all of it all at once. But if we just take one thing, to love God and enjoy God forever, that is what we're to do. Amen?